So welcome to our webinar today. I just want to welcome all of you. This is our Canadian Workplace Learning from New and Not So New Canadians. And I just wanted to introduce myself. So I am Rebecca Lee, and I am the Online Services Coordinator here at ACCES Employment. And those of you that are joining us for the first time, this is just one of the webinars in our RBC and ACCES collaboration. And we've done a number of job search related webinars for mainly pre-arrival job seekers, as well as newcomers that have recently arrived in Canada as well. And those of you that are joining us for the very first time, a very warm welcome. And those of you that have subscribed to us for the many months, thank you so much for continuously supporting us and joining us. So in the next few months, we will be having a number of additional webinars with RBC talking about various job search topics and careers as well. So please do stay tuned, and I will be telling you more about that later on in this webinar. So just a little bit about ACCES Employment itself. So we have been around for over 30 years. We have provided services, programs, and jobs for new Canadians as well as newcomers. We have established relationships with over 2,000 plus employers across multiple sectors and industries in Canada. We've also delivered a variety of sector-specific programs, communications, training, and mentoring programs to job seekers as well. We also recently launched our online services specifically for pre-arrival job seekers approved to land in Canada, as well as newcomers across Canada as well. For the agenda for today, we do have an online panel event. And during this webinar, RBC Royal Bank professionals will be sharing about the following. So we'll be discussing tips on landing your first job in Canada, finding opportunities to learn and grow in the Canadian workplace, and also how to network to build a long-term career in Canada as well. So we're very excited to welcome our panelists today. And without further ado, I'm going to welcome our first guest, and that's Vivian Lee. You can introduce yourself as well as your team.
Thanks, Rebecca. I hope everybody can see me. Hello, everyone. My name is Vivian Lee. I'm the Senior Manager from RBC's Inclusive Recruitment Team. Our team is dedicated to bringing diverse talent to RBC, which includes newcomers to Canada. So as an immigrant myself, I totally understand the barriers newcomers face when coming to a new country and learning a new language and the culture, etc. So we're very happy to have the opportunity to collaborate with ACCES and deliver this webinar series to pre-arrival immigrants as well as newcomers to Canada. Hopefully our tips and advice will help you launch a successful career in Canada. I would continue to talk a little bit about RBC in case you haven't joined our previous webinar. RBC is Canada's largest bank and one of the largest banks in the world based on the market capitalization. We have over 80,000 full-time and part-time employees who serve more than 16 million personal, business, public sector, and institutional clients through offices in Canada, the US, and 36 other countries. Next page, please. So we are one of North America's leading diversified financial institutions and provide personal and commercial banking, wealth management, insurance, investor services, and capital markets products. At RBC, diversity and inclusion is a key enabler in bringing to life RBC's purpose of helping clients thrive and communities prosper. We truly believe by coming together and sharing our unique perspectives, we grow as an organization and as individuals. This helps us attract and retain the best talent and help us better serve and meet the needs of our increasingly diverse client markets. One of our guiding principles for hiring is to hire from the community to serve the community. We help our clients in over 200 languages. Our workforce is 30% visible minorities, and by visible minorities, a large percentage are newcomers to Canada. And majority of them are either first or second generation immigrants. We leverage the diversity of our workforce as an asset that is a competitive advantage in the marketplace, because immigrant employees bring with them their unique culture acumen and international experience, which allows us to excel not only in Canada but also in the global market. With a large representation of immigrant employees in our workforce, we have a strategic focus in developing our immigrant employees into senior leadership roles. We also have an employee resource group called Mosaic that helps immigrant employees build leadership skills as well as provide networking, mentoring opportunities within the organization. We also have our annual diversity and inclusion festivals where employees from all backgrounds come together to celebrate our diverse cultures at RBC. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome our panels to our webinar today and thank them for taking the time from their busy work schedule and share with us their career journeys and tips for the career development. So I would invite our panel guests to turn on your camera. First, I would like to invite each panel to tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, for example, what's your current role? What did you do in your home country before coming to Canada? And if you have any comment about how being an immigrant employee help you, being successful in Canada and help achieve the organization's success, that would be great. I will start with Jia Cerf. I will turn it over to you, Jia Cerf. Please go ahead.
Okay, I can start with my name. My name is Jia Cerf. I raised and born in Iran, and I moved to Dubai. After I finished my high school, I lived there for 17 years, and then moved to Canada in 2014. I used to work as a commercial banker when I used to live in Dubai, and I finished my university in Dubai, and at the same time I started working with a different different cultural employer. The main reason that I moved to Canada was the multicultural place and very high value country for the new immigrant like me. When I came to Canada, at a starting point, it was very difficult for me to understand the work environment of Canada. So I have decided to find out the best way to first learn about the Canadian working culture, to understand how should I adapt myself with the new environment as a newcomer. And we are fortunate to say that Canada is really ready to welcome us as a newcomer. There are several platforms and settlement centers available for us to learn more about the Canadian culture and give us this opportunity to understand what should we do to adapt ourselves with the new working environmental. So I have put it in two stages. The first stage that I took was, through settlement centers, program designed for newcomer. There are several settlement centers here in Canada that help you to know the Canadian available option for us, which is very important to understand, how you can get this knowledge through available services for newcomer. The settlement center that I can name it, which I go through was the Welcome Center, which gave me, so many tips and so many free, program to learn about, to develop, for example, my English skills or develop my, relation with the new other organization. The other one was the bridging program offered by different institutes such as ACCESS Employment, York University, UFT, and other, I can say, other different, organization. this bridging program, it was very useful for me, because I was able to learn about the Canadian culture through that bridging program, and also expand my experience and professional network. The third one was an important one, I can say, was the mentoring program, the most efficient way to learn about the Canadian work culture and expand my professional network. Networking is a key in Canada, and one of the best way to do that was through the mentoring system. And the other things, which was very useful as well, participating in different networking events. Networking events, it's another way to understand and get to know the other professionals, to introduce yourself, to understand their culture, and also to learn about the working capacity in different organizations, big organization, medium organization, and small one. And I can say one of the way that I get to know RBC was during the speed mentoring. That in that speed mentoring, I was fortunate to meet Vivian and introduce myself. So these are the first 4 things that at the stage 1 I thought that I should take, and I took actually. After finishing this, not finishing, when I was going through these things, I understand that what would be the best position for me based on my experience and soft and hard skills. So I have to say, I have tried to clarify my goal for myself first, that what would be my ultimate position that in my job search. This is very important to know that what you want to do in the future, what you're looking for. And the second one was prioritize your action. Based on your goal, you have to take the right action. But you have to learn which one should come first. For example, if you are planning to get the credential from the, for example, university, one of the, highest standard and recognized university or college in Canada, you might need to get some bridging program instead of taking the full course, going through the bridging program to get some certification from the Canadian Institute, which is helping to improve your resume quality. So you need to see the priority for yourself. So I took this action through ACCESS Employment. I was going through the leadership program, which was offered by Humber College, and I took my certificate, my first certificate from there. After that, I joined to York University. It was designed exactly for newcomer, called IEP program, International Educated Professional. That it was a around 9-month course that I took another certificate from there. Then I moved to stage 2. I start to reading through all of the job posting to understand which job posting is exactly matched with my background and experience. Plus, which one of them is really useful for my future. Understanding the terminology in Canada is very important. Understanding what would be the job title in Canada is very important. For example, my job title in backcountry was, relationship manager. Relationship manager here is mostly about the administration job. It's not about the commercial banking. So at the starting point, when I started to search, I didn't find too much result about this. Later on, I came to know that here they call commercial account manager or account manager, which is very close to my background. So please try to understand what would be the best job title for you, and then you go and start your job searching. When I go through the job posting, I have tried to understand the qualification that would be expected by the employer. soft and hard skills, that would be needed to start that job. Maybe this is interesting for you to know that sometimes we are thinking to get into some job, we need to get, for example, MBA. When we go through the job posting, we understand it's not really necessarily to get the MBA. Just by having another certification or degree, you would be able to apply for that one. So before you start any educational program, first you go through the job posting to understand what exactly they are asking for. The other one is I try to understand which one of my qualification would be fit with this new job searching, with the new job that I'm looking for. I'm sure that most of you are having a very long experience and professionalism in your background. So you don't need to have all of them in your resume, or all of them, you don't need to put them in front of the employer. Just try to understand what exactly they are looking for. With that, what I did, I try to understand, what exactly could be beneficial for my resume when I'm applying for the job. The other one is update your social media profile professionally. Here, networking is the first and important key. Please try to update your professional network like LinkedIn to introduce as an introduction reference for everybody. So I updated that one as well, and I got a very good feedback on it. The other one is prepare your resume based on each and every job posting. You don't have one resume only. I came to know about this after I had several back and forth in different job applying, and I understand, sometimes they become confused from my resume, or they call me as an overqualification. Later on, I understand that I need to tailor each and every time for each job posting based on their needs, and you have to do the same things as well. You have to prepare your resume based on each job posting, and try to highlight your qualification based on their qualification requirements. And
And Yazer, so maybe we can come back to you for additional tips. Because we have other two panel speakers, I'm sure your experience and advice is a great benefit to all the job seekers. So we'll definitely come back to you for additional points. I would like to move to Troy. I'd like to invite Troy to introduce a little bit about himself and tell us, about your experience in Canada, and what are the tips you have for our pre-arrival newcomers and immigrants to Canada.
My name is Troy Morello. I'm going to come from a different perspective than Jia Cerf. I've been in Canada for 33 years now. Migrated from Barbados when I was 16 years old. So my experience is a little different. But what I'm about to share with you is still applicable today. So currently I am the senior manager for the ATM technology group within RBC, and what my role encompasses primarily and at a very high level is that my team and myself are responsible for RBC's ATMs across Canada, and that fluctuates between 45 to 4,600 ATMs depending on the business strategy and what's going on there. So, from incident, problem, change management, security, we cover the full scope of ATMs. So we own that channel from an IT perspective, not from a business perspective. So I've been with RBC for 25 years. I migrated from Barbados to Montreal, and that was where I came into my first realization of being an immigrant. And in Montreal, as most people would know, the first language there is Quebecois French, and coming from Barbados, I couldn't speak a word of French. So, you know, being able to communicate was extremely difficult. And finding, and granted, you know, I was young, still in my teenage years, but you know, I stayed there for a number of years, and it never got any easier. And I got an opportunity to move to Toronto in 1989, and that was fantastic because Toronto English was the first language. So, you know, I had a good command of that, so that made the transition quite easy. But even here in Toronto, you know, I was fortunate enough to have someone who worked for RBC to set up an interview with me back then. So it goes back to what Jia Cerf was talking about, networking. Networking in Canada and within a large organization such as RBC is key. It's your Achilles heel with regards to your career and success, because, you know, when you think about it from pure mathematical perspective, you know, if you know one person and you have that good relationship with one person, that they have the trust and faith in you and can vouch for you, that one person knows other people. So from an you know, indirectly, the people that you know grows exponentially. So networking is I can't stress it enough. It is key. When you come into a new country, it's going to be difficult because, you know, you don't know anybody, you don't know the culture. The best way to start is to find those organizations like ACCESS Employment and other organizations that are available to you, and leverage those organizations to the fullest extent, because those organizations are let's say, the doorway to a new life for you, a new career. I didn't have to use those resources, but nevertheless, a lot of the things that I've learned throughout the years are still applicable today. And you'll hear me talk about networking, and networking isn't just, you know, having a coffee with somebody once a year. Networking is building a relationship with a person, and from that relationship comes trust, because it's that trust that you're going to leverage to help you through your career as you acclimate to the culture within not only the country but any company that you manage to get into. Another thing I want to touch base on with regards to, you know, what is important with regards to immersing yourself and building your career. Networking is one thing, but visibility is key. In large organizations, it's easy to become invisible. From the time you start, apart from the immediate people that you work with, you are invisible. You need to differentiate yourself from the other 10, 50, 100 people that will be vying for the same opportunity. You need to set yourself apart from every other resume that's on that table. And one great way of doing that is to be known. When your name comes across a table, whether it's on an email or a resume, if the person that's reading that email, the recipient of that email or that resume, knows who you are from your name, that puts you leaps and bounds ahead of other people, because if they know who you are from a positive perspective, so you have a good reputation, you have a good network that they're probably part of and hopefully part of, that sets you apart from somebody else that they don't know. So, you know, it's to be visible in a large organization is key. I want to touch on a few other things before I turn it back over. Vivian mentioned Mosaic, which is one of the employee resource groups within RBC. I was actually one of the founding members of that group, and only recently stepped aside to let some of the young, fresh blood come in and help stir things up a bit. But when we started that employee resource group, I think we started with about 20 or 25 people and one chapter. And that employee resource group has grown tremendously to over, the last time I heard, was over 3,500 members across the organization, across different chapters. And the services that group, which costs nothing but time, provides to newcomers to the organization is phenomenal. It's priceless. Thanks to Vivian, I got involved with the Peel Multicultural Center probably about 3 years ago. So thank you, Vivian, and I'm still involved with them. And what that organization does, it helps newcomers acclimate to Canada, but one of the programs within there is all about interviewing. So where I got involved, Vivian got involved with conducting mock interviews with newcomers, and sounded pretty interested. I got involved, and I've been doing it for the last 3 years now. And what that does for me, it allows me to help newcomers apply what they've learned at the Peel Multicultural Center in those classes in a real world situation. I interview them just like if I'm interviewing them for an opportunity on my team. I give them transparent and honest feedback, and they have been fantastically appreciative. And from that opportunity, within my team and our quality engineering team, we've hired some of those individuals. So, you know, leverage the services that are here to help you, and from those services, build your network. And your network starts with an email, a phone call, preferably an in-person chat, because emails are very impersonal. So if you can have a conversation with somebody and, you know, let them get to learn and know who you are, build up that confidence, build up that trust in your capabilities and your principles, and just overall who you are, will help you a long way. In this day and age of technology, we have those professional sites like LinkedIn. You know, I use LinkedIn. I'm on there. I just find that LinkedIn nowadays, it's getting a little too much like Facebook, and hopefully they claw it back and you know, clean it up to be the professional resource that it's meant to be and is supposed to be. What else can I share with you? Oh, yes. Know what you want to do. Because when you come into a country like Canada, and you know, if you're in an organization like RBC, there's so many things you can do, so many opportunities. Narrow it down, focus, and once you get to that point, you can also leverage your network and the resources to help you arrive at that destination. If you're all over the place and, you know, there's just so many things that you want to do, it's not really going to help you with your career. It might make you more open, but you need to narrow your focus so that you can invest your resources and your time to achieve that end state goal that you want to achieve. So that's pretty much all I can share with you at this point.
Thank you, Troy. And I'm sure the key points that you touched on, such as networking, the importance of networking, increase the visibility in a large organization, as well as, you know, giving back to community. Because throughout my interaction with you, Troy, you have always impressed me with, you know, an individual that's always passionate about giving back to various community. We can see on your slide, not only were you giving back to the newcomers through mock interviews and some volunteer events, but you're doing the other, you know, fabulous activities that really it's an action, a kind action of paying it forward, and it's also
Absolutely.
one of RBC's key values. So definitely, I hope definitely your insights will help a newcomers to Canada launch their successful career here. So our last panel speaker is Estella. Estella actually manage our RBC employment brand, and what does that mean? That's always a curious question to a lot of people. So I'd like to pass it on to Estella. Please introduce a little bit about yourself, Estella, where you're from, and what does your job mean, and how do you manage your career?
Thanks,
Over to
Vivian.
you. Yeah.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, hi, everybody. Well, I'm very excited to be here today. And first of all, I think I just need to acknowledge if you are taking this seminar through ACCESS Employment, ACCESS Employment has been a really great partner to help highly educated professionals come into Canada. So we're already talking about people that are driven to move forward, that are shaping the future. You want to create a change. You are even thinking about moving to a different country. I mean, this is a real high caliber of talent that we are discussing today. And I'll be very happy to connect with you in any way in the future to help you. So I want to thank Vivian, because I mean, her job, it has a big purpose, and it's helping us all connect with new ideas, new talent, and really hands-on extending herself, her hands in institutions and relationships to help you have a better start when you move to Canada. So thank you, Vivian, for that. And I'll talk to you a little bit about my job. So my job is about managing brands, and in this case, I manage the brand for RBC specifically to bring it to the employment conversation and the talent markets where that we want to attract. So that's in short. And what happens there is I identify what is the most valuable experiences that we want to bring to you, so you can evaluate that and say if you can come and join us, if this is a good deal for you, and try to attract the best and brightest in the talent. And also let them know what we are looking for to bring the organization into the future of banking. So that's in a short run. I have worked here for almost 4 years. Before here, I was also working at another financial institution. I also built the employment brand for them. And I have 15 years progressively senior roles doing this kind of activity. My personal intention is really to advocate for the greater purpose, to help people have a better quality of life and help them just be better off. So anything that I can do, I think we can create better and bigger impact when we are working within the organization, especially in human resources. We can create great change. So it's my job day to day allows me to give back to the community and our partners, in a very natural and organic way. So to answer Vivian's question, I'll tell you a little bit about what I did before I came to Canada, and then the stages that I went through to get to where I am today. I know we have other questions down the road, so I'll try to be quick on this one. So before I came to Canada, I actually studied marketing. I went to the Monterrey Institute of Technology and Superior Studies in Mexico. And I studied marketing because I really wanted to help improve the workplace and the experiences of people. And I thought marketing was the best, had the best methodologies to help me do that. And that was very innovative at the time. Nobody was really thinking that marketing was going to be in HR. So I evaluated the market, and I thought that's really a new thing, that's a new idea, and I'm going to go for it. And it was kind of against the trend, but I finished marketing, and while studying marketing, I also realized that I had a very natural approach to technology. So I was really an expert on technology at the end of my MBA, and people were telling me, you really have to go into engineering. But I really like to work with people, and I find it harder. So it's more challenging and more inspiring to me. So I also did an MBA in information technology management, and that helped me a lot. So now you put that together, before, so say in Mexico, I work in USA and in Mexico on marketing, digital marketing, information technology management, and apply them to experiences for education. So that's the big package. You can check out my LinkedIn profile to know exactly what role I played, but that's a great length. So when I came to Canada, so you have to think this is different. When we are women, we have other priorities too, right? So when you say you have to find your purpose and what you really want to do and focus on what you want, it's hard. And you probably, maybe a 22-year-old is out there looking at this and thinking, I really don't know what to do. I'm just exploring life. It is hard for me to tell and focus. So I will say I was in the same situation. So I came to Canada and I already had a baby. So my priorities were with my baby. So I will say focus on your values. In my case, in all my life, my values have always been family, health, education, art, and love. So if I go for those 5 values, then I can balance my choices. So I came and I evaluated the market, and I thought, okay, what does Canada as a country need? And I evaluated where to go. I mean, I was into data and analytics before coming here. So the approach that I take is how many people are living here and what is the trend and what is the opportunity that we have. So I actually evaluated, picked the city. I wanted to live in Toronto. I wanted to work in financial services. And the first thing that I saw is I couldn't compete in marketing as a newcomer. I couldn't compete in marketing with the recent grads. I had 10 years experience with my own business, being a marketer and a consultant. And yet it was very hard to get an opportunity in marketing and also competing with new grads and other new Canadians. And I was not willing to take a smaller job because I had to evaluate that against the joy of staying at home with my daughter. So I decided to stay at home with my daughter. I decided to stay with her. I opened my own business. So if the job that I needed was not available for me at the time, I decided I'm going to be ready. I'm going to prepare for it. But in the meantime, I'm going to continue with my business. So I continue with that. And I was able also to take care of my daughter. And I am very happy about that because Canada is a fabulous country that gave me the opportunity to be a mom and to be fully dedicated to that. But at the same time, my business was going great. So I had 2 developers. I had project managers in London and developers in other parts of the world. I was doing e-learning, design, and development. So that went well. When my daughter went back to school, then I decided, what does Canada need again? What can I do here? I need to learn more about the culture. I need to improve my English in the corporate world, and I need to strengthen partnerships beyond my entrepreneurial approach. And I developed a strong network in that business. So I decided to, when I applied for jobs, I saw that technology has always been a big request and big demand. So I applied for roles in technology. And that's what I started to do. And my business was a great support and a great reference to see what I have already done globally. So it comes from a different perspective. That was the second phase. So I took the job on technology, and then I moved into marketing. We can talk about it later. But I will say just quickly 3 things. While I was doing my business, taking care of my daughter, I did not have time to waste improving my English. So I went to school, I sharpened up my skills in English, but I also joined a debate club. I really wanted to be challenged. And my first debate was actually national rights supersedes individual freedom. So it was a very tough subject, and I had to debate against a PhD in history. So that's the kind of challenges that I was looking for. Just give me something that really puts me on the edge and challenge me to the extreme, so I can learn more. And if you win, better, because I will learn more. So I joined that debate club. I also connected a lot with the community. So you don't have to sign up for organizations to do good and to do great things in your community. I connected with other smart people in the community, other mothers that were taking care of their children, other entrepreneurs that were launching their businesses, and that is a huge network that I have today to everybody, turn lives around and move things forward, and everything counts. So I'll park it right there to give us time for questions. Get back to Vivian.
Okay. Thank you, Estella. I think you have always impressed me with being very extremely confident and always willing to step out of your comfort zone to develop yourself, right? And first, my takeaway is you do not build your career in a very linear way. So, such as Estella, she started as a marketer, but she also learned information technology. Now, in her current role, she's able to combine. So it's both her experience or expertise in marketing and also information technology. So when you map out your career, you develop your career as a career map versus career single path, it will allow you a lot more opportunity. In building up your career over a longer period of time. So I have got a lot of good insights from all the panel speakers. I'm sure everybody, online, a lot of people are waiting to ask a lot of questions. So I will pass it back to Rebecca so that she can monitor our Q&A section.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Vivian. Thank you so much, Estella.